I'm going to turn my attention to Brian Kemp, who's also on our board. He is also a CPA. He's been on our finance committee for a number of years. Brian, we need to know, how do we know if we've qualified? If we've got somebody that's in their 20s and it just first year that they've worked a full-time job or something like that, you know, if we got kids in college, alumni supporters from all over, how do they take advantage of this and how do they know if they qualify? I know you got some documents in front of you, like specifically where do they go and how do they know what they should do?
Yep, that's a great question, Nate, and I can help out. It's a question I get asked a lot. If you're new to this and you've not donated in prior years, the main thing you want to know is, if you want to answer the question, do I qualify to take the full $1,500 tax credit against my income? When you're preparing your return, or if you're using someone to prepare your return, you want to look at line 13 on your Ohio tax return. It's the line that says total Ohio tax liability. If that line is $1,500 as a couple or $750 as an individual, if it's at least that amount, you would be qualified to take the full credit of either $750 as an individual or $1,500 as a couple against your tax liability. So it's really simple. If you're preparing yourself on TurboTax or using someone else, ask them to prepare your return and tell you what does line 13 say before we file. And if it's at least $1,500 as a couple, you can go out and make your donation, get your receipt, and include that with your tax return, and essentially get that money back through a tax refund. Once you've made that donation, then the question is, well, where does it go on my tax return? Mm-hmm. If you look at, there is a form called 2023 Ohio Schedule of Credits, and there's a line 15, Scholarship Donation Credit. Once you've made your donation and enter that into your tax software or give it to a tax preparer, that's the location of where the tax credit is going to show up. It is a pretty simple credit to claim. Make sure you get your donation receipt before you file your return, which is why Ken said to make your donation as quickly as possible so you have time to get that receipt before you end up filing.
And you can make that contribution to Servant Partners, the SGO, in 2024, but you're able to claim that for 2023. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, so you could make your donation on March 1st and end up possibly getting your refund by April 1st, a month later, and get that money right back into your account.
Okay. So even if it doesn't have $750 and you're a solo, or if you got $1,500, even if it's less than that, you can get that money back if you make that contribution to Servant Partners.
Yep.
You get your receipt, then come back and claim that, submit your receipt with your tax return.
Yep.
And that money will be in your refund.
Yep. You got it right.
Okay.
And like you said, Nate, this is for individual filers, anyone who has Ohio income and is filing a tax return.
That's great.
2 checks if you're a couple. 2 checks.
2 checks.
No more than
Very good.
$750 per person.
Good point.
It's great.